What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's a spontaneous video here. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I'm hoping I can get a couple minutes to make a video and just... I was at my kind of feeling a little low, and I thought, you know, it's a perfect time to make a video when you're feeling a little low. But, you know, all the times that I make a video, it's usually when I'm feeling either, you know, excited about something or motivated and I've been learning, or I'm just at my best state, my best mindset of the day, and I'm like, okay, good time to make a video. You know, it's not like I can just jump in front of the camera any time of day. I mean, I can, but I don't know. I really try to keep a positive outlook on things, but I also have kind of a cynical, sarcastic side about just the bullshit that we deal with in life. You know, I'm not like all, you know, everything's hunky-dory, but rather I choose to look at the world that way, or at least my life that way, because I have to live a happy life as best I can. And I want those around me to be comfortable. I don't want to be an angry person. But I don't want to be a passive person that gets stepped on either. I don't want to be a sheep, an idiot, you know, and I've never been the kind of person who can tolerate ads and bullshit and snake oil salesmen and stuff. Like, made a video earlier about, like, you know, speaker cables, for example, and just how many people will tell you it's braided this way and deoxygenated and it makes your sound better, and all these people, you know, are just selling you bullshit. You know, speaker cable is speaker cable. Depending on there are exceptions, but for most applications, a wire is a wire, and there's arguments all over in the community about these things, and there's always people that are going to defend, you know, their bullshit, and in so many realms that I encounter in life, it's like that. Orgone energy, orgonite, you know, for example, Wilhelm Reich worked on orgone energy. He had all of his information confiscated, destroyed. He, you know, was forced to go to jail, and the FDA, you know, really screwed him over on these patents he was trying to have on these machines that were like these. They were supposed to pull this certain energy, you know, out of the atmosphere, and they call it orgone energy. Pardon me. And so it went from these big, you know, encapsulated areas that people would sit in back in the, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, to today people sewing these little resin pyramids with little layers of gold and wood and sawdust and crap that claim that it purifies your environment and eliminates Wi-Fi signals. And then there's people selling things that'll block your Wi-Fi signals, little stickers you stick on your phone, and pendants that you wear that, you know, the list goes on and on and on. And I just bite my tongue so much about the crap that I see, you know, and that's just one thing, you know. Those are the things that get me down. It's not even really life itself, because I enjoy life. I don't expect a whole lot, you know. I don't expect to get rich, you know. I don't expect to make, you know, have all of my dreams come true, but I'm gonna damn well make as many as I can, right? And bring my family along with me, and hopefully we all enjoy the ride together. But there are hard times, you know. I'm in a phase of my life where I'm going through some learning to kind of change my mindset, but also to just accept things the way they are. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I've been this way most of my life, but it gets different. It's different every couple of years. I learn a new method to coping strategy, and then I learn what doesn't work. For example, becoming passive and just saying, oh well, the world is what it is. It's almost it's a form of nihilism, if you will, but I don't like to get into the technical aspect. I don't like to get into the words, semantics. I just want to say the attitude that says, oh well, life is what it is and it doesn't really matter. That type of attitude. That's the one that gets us down. That's the one that that we can use as a defensive mechanism to protect us against, you know, all the BS out there, but it doesn't allow us to have the energy to fight back against things that we see as tyrannical or corrupt, and it also doesn't give us the power to say, hey, we can create a purpose for ourselves on this planet. I guess the point being that each one of our lives have to be fulfilled by ourselves and our own ideas, and of what we think is right. And we tend to congregate in groups that share certain values that we have. You know, but amidst all the groups of honest people, there are always going to be the used car salesmen, and that's a tough one because not literally, because I know there's probably some good. Whoa. What was that? You alright?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm making a video, so.
Okay.
Yeah, even if I warn them, it doesn't matter. I still end up getting interrupted somehow. So anyhow, where was I at? Anyhow, I guess that doesn't really matter. The point being that there's a lot of BS out there, a lot of corruption, and those are the things that actually just make it really hard to live, because even when you're your own businessman, you say you start your own business like I have, and then you, a couple times, you're always going to get outbid by the people that can afford to have a larger company. And it makes it, I have this dream, this ideal of like this small community where everyone works together and everyone supports their local, their local blacksmith, their local. In the world we live in today, it just isn't reality. It can't exist. You know what I mean? I gotta go close this door here. My kids are in there using their time, and they are the youngest. They're 6 and 9, and those kids are growing up in a totally different world, than I did. I mean, we hear this every generation, but that's another thing that makes it kind of depressing. You want everybody to be able to embrace the same things that we did when we were kids, running outside, playing. Kids aren't even allowed to free roam anymore. They call parents that let their kids run around free-range parents now, and people have been getting in trouble for it. It's really ridiculous. We're afraid our kids are all going to get taken from parks, but the likelihood of that is so slim. But some other things, I don't know, I think that we all kind of, you might call it Facebook syndrome. We hide our, well, I guess that wouldn't even work, because there are two different types of people that post a lot on Facebook, that I've found. The ones that always post something positive, overly positive. And by the way, while I'm on this subject, it was really fun. I read this article the other day that said that they did a study, and I know studies aren't really worth much, but it said that people who post overly, let's just say, convoluted messages of positivity, I can't even think of the word for it that I'm looking for there. It's like, terms that are kind of like, let your soul be free and your quantum self will shine through, something like that. The people who repost and share positive quotes all the time like that are actually tend to be less intelligent. And I felt that, I was like, that's kind of offensive. The minute you say that, everybody's like questioning the state, like, I'm one of those people. But, it's not just people who post positive things. It's the ones that don't. They were asked, a group of people was asked, if they found certain messages to be inspiring or, I guess, epiphany, like, wow, that's amazing. And the messages that they showed really had no meaning whatsoever, but so many people found them to be like, oh, these awe-inspiring, quotes. And I don't know, my point, I guess, I don't know if there is one here, but that there's two different routes, I guess. There's people that post positivity all the time, and then there's people who are always complaining. And I'd much rather have somebody who's posting positivity all the time than somebody who's complaining. And the victims. And, you know, I mentioned this earlier, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm kind of a jerk to people, you know, because I'll leave a comment like, what are you complaining about this for? That's not a big deal. But it's just because life is, I don't know. Life's complicated. We're complicated. People are, I don't know, trying to find something that works for us as individuals, I think, is really the challenge. As we get older, we should be able to learn that not everybody is going to follow the same path, and that even different religions will always exist as such to fit the environment or the person that, you know, whatever suits them. That we can't always change what is, nor should we want to, but rather learn to work with it. We don't have a lot of time to work with things on this planet. I mean, you know, what, 60, 80, 100, 120 years? Who knows by the time we're older, you know? I mean, my kids' generation, these kids might live forever with the way things are going now. You know, science is like, you know, medical science and biohacking. It's crazy what's going on out there, but I'm not scared of a future like that, but I don't want to live forever. You know, I've kind of come to terms with that. You know, I think a lot of people do get to middle age and start getting depressed about, you know, oh my God, I'm mortal and I haven't done anything with my life. But that's not it really at all. We're always doing something, at least not for me. I just find myself saying, well, how do I get that same youthful excitement back, you know, that we all had? And I don't think you can really, you have to find things that work for you. And for me, you know, like I was saying, religion, for some people that works for their belief systems. When it comes to like keeping us entertained, some people like sports. I absolutely abhor sports. I cannot stand watching sports. Like, it's one of the most boring bleh things I can imagine, possibly. I've watched a couple Super Bowls, you know, just for the sake of it being a Super Bowl. And, you know, I understand how the games work. It just doesn't move me, competition like that, not other people. But I love playing games, so, you know, it's not the game factor. But for some people it's sports, and for me, you know, it's not. For some people, for me, I love music, but some people can't stand music. They don't have the ear for it. For some people, actually can't listen to music, because I have this book called Musicophilia, and it talks about people. Some people have, like, they're atonal, or they can't hear certain octaves or frequencies properly. Their brain scrambles it, and they get quite frustrated, and music can actually annoy them. So my point here is that we're all different, and it's important to acknowledge that, and that we all have different ways of being happy. I have phases in my life. It took me a long time to realize this. I have phases I'll go through where it's like, I mean, for example, my stereo thing. You know, I made a video about my stereo system earlier, and I was talking about speaker cables and whatnot. I went through a stereo phase about 8 years ago, maybe, something like that, where I was always going to Goodwill all the time, buying receivers, bought a couple new ones, but my stereo fanatic phase, you know, started when I was young. I've always been into stereo systems, but I could never afford one, anything decent, and I still can't really, but I'm still shopping around at Goodwill for that reason. But even if I could afford it, it's one of those things where I don't feel justified spending that kind of money on things. I'd rather buy something used. I've always been that way with cars too. Anything. Like, I would never buy something new, you know. I can't spend the money. So anyhow, I shop around and I kind of take what I can get. And I lost interest in stereos, and then it came back. And now it's because I went to Goodwill and I happened to find the new JBL speakers from the video I made earlier, and it all came back. It brought me back to the stereo phase where I'm like, ooh, I gotta get the perfect sound in my living room. Oh, I gotta get surround sound back up now. Ooh, I'll watch a movie and see how it sounds. And it's not just with that. With all my art that I do, you know, I do resin jewelry, and I have a whole bunch that I made, and I was getting ready to sell, and I started putting them up, and then I just stopped. Went on to something else. You know, it was like I can't force it. It almost is a seasonal thing. Every year I go through phases, and I noticed it when I was younger. And with heavy metal, I would always listen to in the winter Metallica, Megadeth, and you know, back in the '90s and early 2000s. And I was like, oh, okay, I wonder if it has something to do with my mood in different times of the year. Grateful Dead in the summer, you know, that kind of stuff. It should probably be the opposite, since in the summer I'm the happiest, right? And you know, you need more of the happy music in the winter. But anyhow, heavy metal was happy to me. Maybe it gets my blood flowing, who knows? But I found different things work for me at different times of the year, and I'm still learning how to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out what it is, which parts of my life that coincide and relate to different times of the year, as well as being able to embrace myself when I'm in certain phases. For example, if I'm in one of my rare FOP phases, which my wife loves, I feel really bad because I don't have those as many as I used to. FOP is firestorm of production. That's when I just feel like motivated to clean the house like crazy, or just do some project where it's just like go, go, go. And those are usually in the summer, but the last year or so, a couple, I've been down. And ever since my sciatica, it's really hard to kind of come back. I don't know what it is. It might just be getting older too. You know, a lot of people like to say, well, this happened to me, and ever since I've never been the same. And I like to say, well, dude, you'll never be the frickin' same anyway. It doesn't matter. You're never going to be the same person you were 5 years ago. So you can't always blame like an incident or an accident that changed you, or, you know, not that things don't change us, but that we may be in the mindset and situation we're in anyway, even if that hadn't happened. So I think what we have to do is stop looking for homeostasis, which is, you know, this balance of perfection we're looking for as being a human, and say, the best we can do is embrace the times when we're feeling really good, and the times when we're not feeling really good, take them for what they are and realize that the good times will return, and that we will get back to ourselves, you know? I don't even know what I want to do in this world, you know? It's funny because when I was younger, I remember telling some older guy, you know, I was like, I want to make an impact in this world. I was like, I want to do something. I feel like I have a purpose. Like I need to share, you know, share knowledge. And he just gave me this kind of look like he understood. And he's like, we all feel that way, or a lot of us feel that way. And it just stuck with me, you know, that kind of reassurance. All it took was that one reassurance. And then I look at myself today making, say, YouTube videos, even talking to just you. You know, just my subscribers, you know, maybe only a few hundred people watch, right? That's a lot to me. That's amazing. But it's not about me or what I'm saying. It's really about us, you know, as people. But I do feel like at least what I say is being heard. You know what I mean? But there's another side to it where I feel almost like I can't just talk about stupid shit, random stuff like I used to. In other words, I'm a little more thoughtful in what I say. And it's funny, a lot of YouTubers, anybody who you know, gets more subscribers or more people watching them, tends to become a little more wary. It's just like, you know, you're playing in front of a bar, you know, playing with your rock band in front of a bar, which we've done, then you play in front of a larger auditorium, and all of a sudden you're like paralyzed with fear. And you're like, oh shit, whoa, there's a lot more people. They expect more of me. You know, in the bar you can just fuck up, you know, no big deal. But in the auditorium, no, people pay good money for that. YouTube's not, and it's way different, you know, it still costs nothing to watch the videos, but I feel like if my subscribers have invested in watching my video, they expect a little more than just me going boo and acting like a stupid idiot. But not that I'd really want to make videos being a stupid idiot. Which brings me to, I guess I should probably finalize this, which means, what, 10 more minutes? And for all of you who made it this far, maybe I should share them with you. I have these recordings that I found on cassette tape. Okay, I have a couple hundred cassettes, a few hundred. And some people got very upset because I made a video about them where I was letting my kids pile them up into houses, and they were just like, oh my god, you're ruining those cassettes. And then I ended up gluing them all on a long sleeve shirt, and I made a cassette shirt to wear at SOAK, which is the regional Burning Man out here. And it was kind of wasteful, but they're still good. I just used hot glue. I can just pull it right off the tapes and reuse them. I still have them all. Anyhow, on those tapes, some of them were some recordings. These are, I didn't glue these ones on. These ones were set aside of my brother, me, my friends, all of us when we were younger. And we're talking mid, or I should say late 80s. I'm going to say 1987, 88. And I found this recording of my brother and I, which we cussed so much as kids. You know, the image I have of myself as a kid, I didn't realize. I'm ashamed of being such a horrible, have such a horrible potty mouth. I don't even know how I got to be that way at that age. My brother's 9, I'm like 12, and we're recording, you know, talking about all kinds of random shit. Well, there's this other one with my friend Sean that we went to preschool together, and I knew him to 6th grade. He came to visit one time when I was like 11, 12, and we did raps. I have a 26-minute long rap done with this old Casio keyboard with the beat, you know, the drum beat, and it's the simple, cheesy, and I'm like, I'm Josh, and my voice is so high-pitched in that, because I'm young. And I did the most horrific rap about porno mags. And I thought I was going to talk about how great they are, but I ended up talking about how crappy they are, and how, why would anybody buy porno? There's nothing good in there like candy bars and something else. I was like, oh my god, I so want to share this. I so want to post this as a video with my raps with my friend, because then I was like, take it away, Sean, and he's like, rap, rap, rap. And I'm like, wow, I never listened to the whole thing. So I went back and listened to the whole thing, because what I did was I took the tape, let it play, and transferred it to my Tascam voice recorder. And then it's a digitized recorder, and put it onto like MP3 format, or whatever it makes, Wave, I don't know. And then I put on my headphones today, and I was like, oh, there's that recording, and I played it through and listened to it on headphones. My brother comes in a little while later, and there's another recording of me and him, and I mean, it's the craziest thing to listen to yourself from 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And a lot of people had cassette tapes and reel-to-reel tapes, 60s, 70s, 80s, but not a lot of people I knew took the time to record themselves. And anybody who grew up then remembers that if you didn't have a recording tape because you couldn't afford a blank tape, all you had to do was take some shitty-ass Rodney Crowell or, you know, some country tape that you didn't like, and take a little wad of toilet paper and put it in the hole on the top. So then the tab would stick out, or a piece of paper is what we would use, or of course a piece of tape is the thing that most people would use, but we could never find Scotch tape. So stick whatever in there and then put it in the tape player, and then it would allow you to record over it. And tapes are pretty much good forever. So anyhow, getting off track, my listening to it, it really took me back and gave me a new perspective on my youth. It made me realize that I was kind of an asshole to my brother. I was kind of an asshole to my brother, first of all, you know, and I always knew I was, but he was kind of an asshole to me too. And I think that's how brothers are, but it's still, you know, it puts it in perspective when you hear yourself like, oh, fuck you, Nick, and he's like, oh, fuck you, Josh. And but we didn't really mean it, you know, we're just punk kids. So I don't know what my point is, really. Just, I wanted to share that. It was kind of cool to find. I have at least another dozen tapes I need that I know have stuff like that on there to go through. Everything all the way from the time when I was about, you know, 10 or 11 when we did the Today Show. Actually, I think I was 12 years old when I did my first the Today Show recording with my brother. And we had our own little intro and commercials and stupid stuff. And then it goes up to 13, 14, 15, 16 to drinking with my friends, and then a recording of my friend and I frying on acid for like our second or third time all night with this little crappy tape recorder recording in the background, and us freaking out of this giant mosquito hawk flying around the room. And you know, those are the times that you can remember in your head, but unless you have an accurate recording of them, you can't really see just how stupid you were. And so I just like to say that I feel the same way about YouTube. Those old recordings of myself and the way I thought from 2011, 12, 13, they give me a perspective, and that's kind of a long roundabout way of saying that's why I feel like people deserve me putting out at least better content than just rambling and shit and talking about, you know, stupid things. But anyhow, this video's already gotten long, and I'm surprised I got away with having this much time. I will talk to you all later. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my patrons. And as I've said before, for any of my Patreon subscribers, you can send me a message through Patreon with a video request for anything you want, and I will research it and present it, or whatever it may be, any questions, you know. I don't have, I think I have like 10, 15 Patreon subscribers. It just blows me away. Like, that's just like, wow, that's crazy to me. I can't imagine it, you know, having like, you know, hundreds, but I'd feel even more obligated. But I just want to be able to give something back. I'm still working on my opiate paper, 30, 40 pages in, and I'm about to make a little documentary about it. So I'll let y'all know how it goes, and if I feel the patience to edit it down and make it decent, or just talk it through with the picture in the background. Peace. Talk to y'all later.